Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and as you read in the title, we are going to be going over the 3 worst Tier 10s for beginners or inexperienced players to use. Even if you are a decently good player, I think that you are still going to struggle more in the tanks that I'll be showcasing today than any other Tier 10. Now, we have the CS63 in front of me, but I'm rather surprised to say this tank does not make the list. And you might be wondering why. So I figured I would explain very briefly why I don't think the CS63 is the worst vehicle for beginners. First of all, it's got gun depression, which is nice because it means you can at least be a little flexible with 8 degrees. It's got a decent top speed, and while it doesn't really have anything good going for it, I also don't think the CS63 has anything terrible either. It's just not a good tank. But it's not necessarily an awful tank either. As I've said in many of my reviews, it's just the most lackluster vehicle in Tier 10. But I think that a beginner will do a lot better in a CS63 than an Object 140. So the Object 140 features incredible levels of damage per minute at 3,550 with Cali. It has decent penetration at 328 millimeters of heat, it's accurate, and it's also got pretty quick aiming time. But the problems with the 140 arrive with its only 185 millimeters of frontal turret armor and the fact that the vehicle has almost no hull armor. Sure, you might get the occasional troll bounce on the upper plate, or even the weirdly angled sides, but when you have poor gun depression paired with very low alpha at only 300 and really bad armor, it's a combination that can be absolutely deadly for players who don't know how to use the vehicle properly. It's almost guaranteed that when you get an Object 140 player on your team, if they don't know how to play the tank, they're going to be dead within the first minute of the battle. It's almost the same thing every single time. So, we'll see how we're able to do in the 140 here. No promises, because we are on a map that is actually rather terrible for this tank. You usually want large open maps for a 140, because you're going to be able to take advantage of distance to outspot your opponents, outmaneuver your opponents, but Dynasty's Pearl is a pretty dog map. And as I said, it's mainly because we aren't able to use our mobility, spawning mechanics, or anything really. But maybe we'll be able to farm a bit if we can catch a tank off guard. So what are we going to do? Well, we are going to start off by going into this bush here. This is a nice early game position because if anything tries crossing over towards the heavy flank, we can get a free shell out and we'll know where the enemy's going. At this point, judging that we haven't spotted anything, they're not going here. So what we're going to do is we are going to sneakily make my way over here. We're going to drive up like this. Let's see. Oh, there you go. And we have the enemy Centurion spotted, and a free shell goes in. Oh, the Jagdpanzer rolls around the corner, and I can guarantee that... ooh, 412, and look at that, right through the turret. Great example of the armor of the Object 140. It's kind of a joke. I mean, the fact that we got penned that easily from the enemy Centurion. Now, thankfully, he missed that shot on me. And we are doing all right. As I said, the gun on this tank is really good. But, unfortunately, your tank isn't just bound by its gun. It's bound by the armor and everything else it features as well. So, we get one shell tracking the 57. We shoot at him again. Unfortunately, that shell does not keep him locked down. 183 shoots and does actually hit the Yo. We're going to aim in our own shell on the enemy 183. Look at that, only 250 damage from that shot. Oh, that shell did not like me, and again, right through the turret. That's the problem I have, though. If the tank had solid turret armor, it would actually be really good. But it doesn't. It has really poor turret armor, which makes it incredibly hard to maneuver and deal with situations placed in front of you. So we got our Progetto, and I'm going to move up a bit over here. Well, we tracked the 57 heavy, so he's not able to hit me, which is obviously pretty important. Our Yo's going to poke. He gets one shell out. Oh, we got the scent. There you go. Easy clear to the enemy Centurion. 57 misses my teammate, so we are going to poke him. We're going to load a heat shell. There we go. Pretty bad roll, but at least we got the shell out, right? We're going to poke again, and there you go. He's bouncing my hull, but wow, does this thing have bad alpha. Like, holy bad. Oh, there you go. Pretty good stuff. I mean, we're getting out damage, and that's important. We're not dead, which is also important, and you can see where the majority of the enemy team is, including the 183. which is also very important. So we are going to flank right now, and let's get the clearing shell into the enemy 183. That's obviously quite huge. We got the Yo, get the clearing shell into him. Just like that, the enemy team is already down a lot of their capabilities. We have the enemy M103 in this spawn, so we're going to poke this. Oh boy, that is not what I want. Well, oh my rat, bruh. I cannot believe that the enemy was able to hit me there. Well, we went from being pretty strong to pretty weak in just a second. And again, look at that. Every shell right through the turret. It's really annoying. Like, it is absolutely tragic how weak this vehicle's turret armor is. But we were able to clear the enemy batchat. We're up to 4,200 damage, and this was a pretty solid result. So, as much as I can say that this is a very sus tank to drive, we've also done a pretty solid result for everything considered. So we are going to get behind the M103 at this point, and hoping that the M103 bounces. But I guess we're going to find out, right? M103 did bounce, and that means we are able to get behind him here. Free 295 damaging shell. Now we have an HE shell loaded. 445. We light him on fire, and he gets cleared. So, a really good game. And it shows where, if you know how to drive the Object 140, you could do absolutely fantastic. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better game to really showcase its capabilities. 5,082 damage, but we blocked 0. We literally blocked like 0 damage. I think the 57 bounced us once because we overangled the hull on purpose, but apart from that, I mean, we were literally in the most rat situation. And it shows just how tricky this tank is to drive. And if you don't believe me, trust me, when you get it, you are going to regret it if you don't know what you're doing. But that's why it makes it into the 3rd place position. We move on to a light tank, this one being the WZ-132-1. I really like this tank, but trust me, it has its fair share of problems, which makes it very tricky to drive. First of all, it only has 5 degrees of gun depression, making it incredibly awkward to work on any ridgeline, especially because it's a rather tall vehicle. It's not like the 200 LT where you're very low down, so you don't need to worry. This tank, it's definitely a little bit sus in that situation. The vehicle also doesn't have that much DPM when you compare it to mediums. You know, the average medium sitting at around 32 to 3,300 DPM. This tank has 3,000. So it's still solid, but you're going to have to be very cautious when fighting mediums that not only have gun depression, turret armor, but the ability to outtrade you. And when you pair all that together with a turret that's only 140 thick, yeah, the WZ can be very hard to use. Now, it does have some great things going for it. 360 damage per shot is really nice. The HE at 450 alpha, absolutely incredible. It's got really good pen on the premium, 340. It's also got really good accuracy and adaptive concealment, which is one of the most useful tools in the game if you know how to use it properly. But that does not mean this is an easy tank to drive. And as I said, it's making it into the number 2 position for one of the hardest tanks to drive properly. It's just a really, really tricky tank to understand. The WZ would be one of the last lines I ever recommend for any beginner to get. The Sheridan, absolutely amazing for beginners if you want to learn how to play it light while also having a really fun time. The Sheridan is definitely the way to go. The T100 LT, definitely a step up from the Sheridan, but also fantastic. And the Batchat, while it does require skill, is definitely still an easy tank when you compare it to the WZ, as the Batchat is more mobile, it features actually a degree more of gun depression, and also a really, really dangerous clip. So up against us, we have a Sheridan and a Type 61. And we actually see that enemy Type 61 right in front of us, a free 376. Please don't drive into me, Centurion. I'm not worried about the Type 61. I'm worried about the enemy Sheridan. That's the big threat that I'm worried about right now. But look at that. There he is. There's the Sheridan. That's who I was worried about. Sheridan obviously features a very, very dangerous gun. And because of that, I always get a little cautious when the enemy light is a Sheridan, because you never know what it's going to be able to do. So the Type 61 is going to run, and we're going to get right behind him. We're going to load in a high explosive, and there you go. Awful roll, 450 alpha, and we roll 382, but still, you can see where the gun on this tank is really good. Oh boy, great job, Centurion. But yeah, the gun is really, really good on this tank. It definitely will get some good bonks out. So what do we have? Well, we can see that our team is being peppered It would appear that, I'm not even sure, oh, the 4005, that's what it is. They have a 4005 and probably even a Sheridan, which appears to be camping somewhere in one of these back bushes. The problem is, I am not in the proper vehicle to detect what is going on here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cap this base to begin with, because, I mean, nothing's really going on. The Kron is getting shot at, so we're just going to keep capping this base, and until something gets spotted, I'm not really going to bother. So there you go. Nice. Okay, the enemy Sheridan is detected, and there is the T-124. Oh boy. Well, I don't think we're spotted. No, we're not. Again, that's what the great mechanic of this vehicle allows you to, is know when you are detected. So we can see that we are no longer spotted from that E4, which is quite nice. We got the Sheridan in mid. Let's see. Can we get a shell into the Sheridan? Doesn't look like it as of yet, unless that Sheridan backs up. But it doesn't look like that's the case. Got a shell into the enemy Type 71. We are not spotted from the E4, though, which is quite good. And we did detect him ourselves. But yeah, this is not looking like a great job from our team. Let's be real here. This is looking pretty bad, if I have to say so. Type 61 is still alive. VK72 backs up. Get a shell on ourselves for 411. That's pretty good, at least. We're going to flank a little bit behind. We're going to aim it on the Sheridan. There you go, 383. Let's back up. Make sure the VK can't hit me. Nice. Okay, and chonk, 346. I mean, the gun's great. You can see that here. If you know how to use this tank properly, you can get out some fantastic bleeds. And that's really, really good. There you go. 374 shot. While our E100 is still alive, I'm obviously going to try and take advantage of every situation I can here. Got the VK72, and... oh, what was that? That was awful. I did not expect our shell to do that. Okay. Well, let's reload, and let's aim it on that VK lower plate again. There you go. Nice shot. However, it appears the 4005 is now trying to hit me, which is not in my forte. Get a shell into the TNHVZ. I mean, we've gotten bleeds out. We've supported our team pretty good so far. Not able to hit that TNH anymore. Let's see, is that Type 71 going to cross it? Should be able to spot him if he does. Well, there you go. Did spot the Type, but not able to get the shell out as of yet. I mean, we're going to lose this. That's guaranteed. But what I'm currently hoping is that maybe, just maybe, I can send this 4005, who's all the way in the corner here. We are spotted, but as I said, I'm kind of hoping right now, at least, that I can get some damage into the 4005. He misses the one shell on me. And so he pens one shot. Okay, well, there you go. And at this point, the 4005 is not able to kill me. So what I'm hoping is that we can just push him here, get a little bit more out, clear his vehicle. So let's just load in an HE shell. Oh, he's not running Spalliner. Well, that absolutely sucks for you, doesn't it now? And dead. Sweet. We got the clear on the enemy 4005. Hopefully the Yo gets the clear on the Type. We got the enemy Type 71 driving over. There you go, 366. Unfortunately, even with me dealing over 6,000 damage, our team loses. It's a great example of how influential you can be in a game, but at the end of the day, still reliant on your team. And you can imagine that if a player wasn't as skilled or as knowledgeable as me in the terms of positioning, where to aim the shots and everything like that, game could have been a lot worse. I mean, literally our Waffle did 0. I don't even know what bro did. He camped and spawned the entire game, which is alright. You're supposed to do that in a tank destroyer, but you sat and spawned the entire game and did 0 damage. Like, really, bro? I mean, you did worse than our Centurion, who literally died in the first 20 seconds of the game. That's pretty sad. Our whole team was very sad, though. I mean, not much to say about it. Yeah, oh well. The WZ is great. I really enjoy this tank. I mean, I'm averaging 4,000 damage for the 8 games I've played in it, and I've done okay win rate-wise. The spotting mechanic allows you to know for certain when you have to back in the cover, when you have to drive away, versus you know instantly if you can shoot people or not. And because of that, it gave me the information that game to deal over 6,000 damage. And if you think that these are cherry-picked battles, you can see that we have the 140 game, and then the 132-1 game, and then we have our 907 games that I played for my video, which you probably see. I don't know when you're going to see that video, but either way, these aren't cherry-picked. These are just great tanks, but they require a lot of skill to do well in. So, we arrive to the final vehicle for today's video, and that would be, well, this, the FE-4005. This Tier 10 British tank destroyer is just not good. Like, yeah, you can do well in it, Overall, I'm averaging 3,500, but it's only a 60% win rate. And judging that my account has a 74% win rate on it, it shows you the difference. I'm performing about 12% worse in this tank than I do my average tier 10. And that's a real problem. The 4005 can get out damage fine. It's got a super dangerous gun, it's got penetration, and, I mean, some of the highest clipping damage out there. But none of that matters when you're driving a vehicle the size of a freaking 2-story building and you have 0 armor. That's the problem with the 4005. Everybody thinks, oh, it's so dangerous, this and that, but they forget how team-reliant this vehicle is. The FE2 and 5B 183 is definitely better than the 4005 at this point. Wargaming has buffed how camo values work, and not only have they buffed how camo values work, but they've buffed how accuracy works. And that really helps the 183, because in a 183, you can simply sit still, slam a shell into your opponent, and back in the cover before they even have the opportunity to react. But with the 4005, you have to get out 4 shells. Not only that, but it's very derpy on its accuracy, and it's just really sus. That's really all there is to say. This gun is incredibly sussler to use, and that's why I don't per se love using the 4005. It's a fun tank, but I just can't say it's a good tank. Like, you make one misplay in this vehicle, and you're back to the garage in just a second. So we can see the VZ, we can see the 183, and I'm spotted already. Oh, there it is. Great example. I mean, I haven't even done anything over-aggressive. I literally just simply drove to try and get into that bush there, and we've already lost a third of our health due to a Sheridan outspotting me and shooting me for 600 on my HP. And like, how am I supposed to counter that? Look at that, I'm spotted again from the enemy Sheridan already. That's crazy when you think about it, the fact that I'm being spotted from that far away. But I mean, look at the size of this tank. It's freaking huge. It's definitely a problem. So, I'm not even sure what to do here. I mean, both sides of the map are covered. We got a Sheridan and T92 over here. They got both of the cringest mediums / lights they could have. And I'm using a tank that really just can't do anything in this current situation. Got the 100 in mid, and what I'm kind of hoping right now is that the E100 does exactly what he's doing. Drives over, allows us to get 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you go. That's where the 4005 is insane. We just brought what was a full health YOLOing E100 down to basically 0. There's no tanks that can do that in the game. But it's just, you sacrifice so much for the ability to do that. The question is it worth it? It's 50-50 for me. I love this tank, but I also hate it. And, well, you can definitely see why. So the 183 shoots my teammate. We get 1 shell out into him, and as much as I want to be able to get more out, I'm not able to at the current time frame. We are going to aim it on the Centurion, though. We got 1 shell, 2 shells, and we got the VZ over here, which we get a 3rd shell into. But I back up an inch, and the 183 kills me. That's my fault. I shouldn't have backed up. I should have known that he was going to be looking at me. But, oh well. I mean, I don't know. I kind of panicked when I saw the VZ and didn't think about it until it was too late. But that's why the 183 is so cringe, is because 1 shot sitting out in the open, it can absolutely delete your vehicle. The good news is that this 183 doesn't appear to be very good, and hopefully our bat chat is smart enough to outmaneuver him, but, well, I don't know. And just like that, we get a victory out. Not the best game ever, but I think we did alright, and we definitely illustrated why the 4005 is such a tricky tank to play. Because you're just this massive target that everybody wants to shoot at. We did fine. I mean, it's not hard to do well in a 4005. That was 3,400 damage. And if I didn't back up there, I probably could have done upwards of maybe 5k. I would have been able to probably kill that 183. But that's why the 4005 is so tricky, is because it's this freaking huge box. Everything outspots you. Everything wants to shoot you. And its gun is very tricky to work properly. It works great when it gets its damage out. I mean, we penned 2 clips, so we did 3,400. That was my game. But it's not worth it, in my opinion. It's not worth the trade-offs to try and deal that damage, especially when I could just pull out a T57 Heavy and deal 1,200 damage, especially with the same shell reload boost, in around 4 seconds. Why would I trade all of the armor and hit points of a 57 Heavy to go to a 4005 to simply deal an additional 400 damage? I don't really find it that important. I'd much rather drive a 50B if you really want a high damage clip with reactive over a 4005. But that's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But these are, in my opinion, the hardest tanks to drive in the game. They're great if used properly, but man, do they suck if you don't know what you're doing. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.